So there have been a lot of rumors about a Switch Mini and Switch Pro coming out this summer, and we've heard the ideas for quite some time now, but until 2019 we didn't get any information that was credible about them. But now we have information from sources like Nikkei and the Wall Street Journal saying that yes, this is a thing, and yes, it can be coming out as soon as summer of 2019.
Mm. Yeah, I believe this, and I have some opinions about this.
Well, of course we're going to have opinions on it. Otherwise, this wouldn't be a podcast. It'd just be an announcement. Hey guys, Switch Mini and Switch Pro are coming out this summer. Goodbye.
Huh. I feel like I know a YouTube channel like that. I think it has an X in the name. Hmm. I can't really think of it at the moment.
Oh, come on. Not all the time. But anyways,
Yeah, I know. I'm
let's start
kidding.
off with the Switch Mini because I think that's what's going to be the more talked about thing. So, with the Switch Mini,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the 2DS equivalent to the Switch, where it's not going to be handheld only, but marketed more as a handheld system. I think it'll be cheaper than $200. It will either
Mhm.
have a clamshell design or look more like a Game Boy Advance. And no, not the Switch Mini that I got from Taobao, thank you very much. But
Nice.
I think it will
Yeah.
either. I'll probably have the clamshell design if they're aiming towards a handheld market. And I think it'll
Yeah.
be a great option to have because not everyone's willing to pay $300 to get a game system. And with just having a cheaper option out there makes a lot of sense, especially for the casual gamers or just kids out there who want to have a Switch but don't really need all the bells and whistles.
Yeah, I think it's a smart idea. One, because the clamshell design is an easy transition from the 3DS. Two, you could still sell the Joy Cons if you slide them in to this clamshell device. And three, it's a little less powerful than the regular Switch, so it'll be a little bit cheaper.
Well, I don't think you'll be able to slide in the Joy-Cons, but if you were going to use them for multiplayer or something, or just tabletop mode or
I,
something like that, they'd be compatible.
I, I don't know. I have a feeling that they're gonna pack in Joy Cons. I have a feeling. I know they said no Joy Cons, but I just kind of have a feeling. We'll see.
But I think the Switch Mini will definitely be pretty popular. Having an option that's cheaper than the regular Switch is always a good idea. And
Hmm.
if it's released during the summer, I think that'd still be good. But I think it'll especially sell really well when the new Pokemon comes out later this year, Pokemon Sword and Shield,
Oh yeah,
and it'll
definitely.
probably have a bundle with that.
I think it won't be called the Switch Mini. I think it'll be called Switch Lite. Um,
They haven't really done the light
because
thing in a while though.
yeah, I know, but I think it would make a little bit more sense to call it a Switch Lite than a Switch Mini if it's a clamshell design, because it's not really a mini version of the regular Switch. It's kind of its own thing with the Switch brand name with it.
Yeah, but the Wii Mini
So,
wasn't that much smaller than a Wii, and it had the name Mini in it.
yeah, but nobody cared about that.
Well, I cared about it.
Yeah, says the guy who complains about it all the time.
I don't complain about it all the time. It's just, it's a fun joke to make, like the Virtual Boy or CDI.
Yeah. No, but I think the more interesting prospect, because I think we're all on board for a Switch Mini or Lite or whatever it's going to be called. I think one of the main issues, not issues, but the main, selling point here that's surprising is that we're getting an updated version of the Switch, which apparently will be called Switch Pro. I have a feeling it's going to be called the Switch Plus. But what are your opinions on this? Because I honestly just kind of think it's going to be fixing the issues with the original Switch with some minor tweaks.
Now, with most of Nintendo's console revisions and stuff like that, they are made to fix issues, and if there's going to be a Switch Pro, I think it'll be more on the level of a new 3DS kind of upgrade, where yes, it was a good
Yeah.
upgrade, but I don't think it's going to be absolutely necessary. You have to get this upgrade. Here's
Yeah.
what I think it's going to be more like. I think the dock, which was the biggest problem with the original Switch, is going to get a redesign. And what I think it's going to be like is the Wii U charging cradle. You remember what I'm talking about? You put the Wii U on the charging
Yeah.
cradle, and it charges it,
Yeah.
only this time it'll connect to a TV. That
I
way
don't
the screen has
mm,
no risk of getting scratched, and it's just lighter and more compact.
I don't know how I feel about that because I think the whole point of the original dock design was when you put it in that little sandwich dock thing, it looks
Sandwich
like a
doc.
console. When you put it in when you put it in the dock, it looks like a console. If you make it look like a Wii U charging station, you kind of lose that kind of novelty of it. So I'm not sure how they're gonna go about that. I mean, they might go with your idea, but we'll see. I had a question though. Do you think we're gonna get updated Joy-Cons? Ones that don't shift and ones that are a little bit better made.
Now, here's the thing that I was going to say about that, because going back
Hmm.
to your design thing where it's made to look like a console in the dock, I think that was
Yeah.
more of not trying to confuse people that it was pretty much Wii U 2.0, because if it
Yeah.
was marketed as like the charging cradle thing when it initially came out, I think it would have failed. But it's kind of like the NES thing where it was designed in a way to not look like a video game console. But now the Switch has sold really well, it already has a great reputation, so they could have that design of looking kind of like a Wii U in the charging cradle. And I
I
think that'd be a better option
suppose.
because the screen wouldn't get scratched. Or if they're going to do the regular dock design again, they could just put a little bit of silicone in there or softer material instead of the plastic so the screen doesn't get scratched. But I'd really like to see a glass screen on it. If it's a Switch Pro, it's going to be marketed towards older gamers out there who aren't as prone to dropping things or anything like that. And I think the durability will be the main focus of the Switch Mini. But for the Switch
Mhm.
Pro, I expect it to have a 1080p screen on the handheld, or
Yeah.
yeah, the handheld part of the system, instead of the
Hmm.
720p the regular Switch has. But it would be nice
Hmm.
to have a glass screen too.
Now, one of the now for the release date, there's been a lot of things coming out recently where the Switch has had an update where you can transfer your save data between systems. This was just implemented a few days ago, and I think this kind of points towards the announcement of both of them being rather soon, probably in the April Direct, I'm assuming.
I have another idea
Um,
of when that can be revealed.
okay, cool. Um, but yeah, I besides that, I wanted to say I think in terms of the Joy Cons, we're going to get what we you do you remember those Wii Remote revisions that we got, the Wii Remote Plus?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get something along those lines, but slightly different. I think they're gonna be the same general shape, maybe slightly bigger, but they're going to be completely redesigned Joy Cons. So they're going to be a little bit pricier, but they're going to have a better joystick. They're going to have better button input, and they're not going to have that sliding issue on the regular Joy Cons that they found out was actually a design flaw from the original Switch.
Now, I never thought of it that way. Thank you for bringing that up with the Wii Remote and the Wii Remote Plus, because when you mentioned redesigned Joy-Cons, I thought it was going to be something completely different. But now that you put it like
No,
that,
yeah.
I think that'll be the most logical step because a lot of people probably own multiple Joy-Cons. In fact, I have quite a few myself. So having the ability to use the Joy-Cons comfortably on the Switch Pro will always be a good option. Like you can use the regular Wii remotes with the Wii along with the Wii Remotes Plus. Now what I think they're
Right.
going to do is I think they're going to fix the joystick issue, maybe add more precise motion controls. They're already pretty good on the Joy-Cons as they are now, but they could make them even better. I think the
Mm-hmm.
plastic material is going to be a little bit stronger and a lot better than it is on the regular Switch Joy-Cons because they have an
Hmm.
issue with the plastic on them where it's very easy to scratch them and they're not that protective. So unless you have like a case for them or if you put them somewhere safe, they get scratched very easily and I think they're going to fix that by adding a better plastic
Yeah.
housing for them.
And
But I
I
can't
do
really
think
see
we're
them
yeah.
changing the design of them. Maybe a little bit
I
bigger.
Yeah, I could see it being slightly bigger, kind of like how the new 3DS was slightly bigger than the 3DS. And I can also see them redesigning the D-pad, which is something that people have been asking for a while. And I also see them improving the buttons. One of the main issues I have with the Joy-Cons is that sometimes the buttons are really hard to press because of how small they are. If we made the Joy Cons just a tiny bit bigger, by a small margin. I think we could get bigger buttons to kind of press on so that we could have better, control input and this and that. And I really think it would be something Nintendo should invest in. Uh, and and it's smart too because you'd have the cheaper option of the regular Joy-Con controllers as well. So if you can't afford the better Joy-Cons at the moment, you can still go with the cheaper Joy-Cons. And I predict that when the Switch, well, not the Switch, when the Joy-Con Plus controllers come out, maybe the regular Joy-Con controllers will drop in price because they are pretty pricey right now.
Here's what I was gonna say. I think they'll be the same height as the regular Switch Joy-Cons, but they'll be a little bit wider, with bigger analog
Oh,
sticks, bigger
interesting.
buttons. Because
So
if
you're
they're
saying,
gonna have the compatibility with the regular Joy-Cons too, they'd have to be the same height. But if they just widened them a little bit and made bigger buttons and analog sticks for them that felt more comfortable to use, I think they could do that without a problem.
I think you're right on the money. I didn't actually think about making them wider, but I think the I think one of the issues you'd run into though is the what's it called? God, that the controller that comes with the Joy Cons, the grip. You run into the problem with the grip. Uh, Now, do you think the new Switch, the Switch Pro, will come with a new Joy-Con grip to fit this new type of wider Joy-Con?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking because with the handheld option where you're using the Joy-Cons like that, I think
Yeah,
they kind of have to have the same height. But
yeah.
with the grip, it's a
I
cheap
yeah.
accessory. You can get one for like 10 bucks. I don't think they're really
I
going to
think
care
yeah.
about that. They'll just include a wider one, hopefully with charging
I
this time.
I didn't actually think about them being wider. I think that would actually solve a lot of the issues we have with them, with the buttons being really small. Now, of course, it can't be too wide, or else it just kind of looks ridiculous. But I think that kind of solves the issue. That kind of solves a little bit of the issue for me, for the Joy Cons. I really hope they do that. I think it would be a really smart idea if they go for it, to be honest with you, and it would be a huge selling point, especially for me, who I'll be honest, I don't like the Joy Cons that much. If they improve the Joy Cons, I will buy a Switch Plus.
Now, I
you
don't know if
know?
I'm going to get one day one, but I would like to
Yeah.
upgrade my Switch, and if it turns out well, I'd be more than happy to. But until it's
Oh
actually
yeah.
revealed, we just have speculation and what we want to see from the Switch Mini and the Switch Pro. But I think we should wrap
Now,
up the video here.
now before we wrap up, I did want to talk about the specs real quick. Now, how much more powerful do you think this will be compared to the regular Switch? You did mention that it will have a 1080p screen, which I completely agree with you. Um, and I would assume that the resolution on the big screen will be a little bit better as well for certain games. Now, here's my question. Just like how the new 3DS introduced themes to the main menu, do you think that the idea of themes for the Nintendo Switch menu will be revealed when these consoles are announced?
I never thought of that, but yeah. But with the specs of the system, yeah, I mentioned the 1080p screen and the handheld mode, but I also think we'll have the ability to upscale games to 4K. This isn't the same as native 4K, but if you have a 4K
Yeah.
TV, they'll look a little bit better.
Yeah, I personally think they won't go for 4K yet. I have been hearing rumblings that they're going to do another Switch model that will compete with the PlayStation 5 next year. So I'm assuming I'm calling it the Switch Plus because I think the Switch that they want to go up against the PS5 will be next year, which I think will have 4K support and some other specs that we just really don't know about yet. Uh, but they're preparing for that for next year, so we that's ways off. But yeah, I is there anything else you want to add to this discussion? Because I don't know, I feel like there's a lot to be said about this, and I think we're right around the corner of discovering when we're finding out about the release date, which you haven't gotten back to. When do you think they're going to be released or announced?
I think it'll be released in the summer, and I think it'll be revealed in the April investors meeting. Now, this is when they
Oh,
announce all
okay.
their sales statistics, stuff like that. That doesn't really interest the consumer, but that's when they also
Mhm.
announced the new 2DS XL, and it was the final earnings release of the fiscal year. I think that's when we'll get information about that, and the specific date is April 24th. So it's going to be pretty soon, and
Okay.
actually, let's see. Let me check my calendar. It's looking like April 24th is next week. So yeah, a week
But
from now.
yeah, I really hope our ideas for the Switch Plus come to fruition. Just the Joy-Con Plus controllers, it being wider with like better D-pads and better control sticks, and without that design flaw that just makes your control stick just kind of drift off by itself. I think we're in for a real treat. Um, as long as that's fixed and we have a better dock and some, a little bit of an upgrade before we see like the the big upgrade for the Switch next year that's supposed to go up against the PS5. It's going to be a good year for the Switch. I honestly think so, and I really hope our ideas come to fruition because they seem plausible based on Nintendo's past.
Well, yeah. Anyways, that about wraps it up. I'm Demeech.
And I'm Ty the Guy 2800.
Let's get this Switch Pro.